Hey guys, welcome to Securematics Juniper Unified Manager Services Program and webinar. And love to have you guys here. Securematics, we're the second largest distributor in the world for Juniper, and glad that you guys are partners with us, and looking forward to helping everybody learn about this great program that is being used right now. So if you go to the next slide, Bailey. Just quick introduction of our team here at Securematics. We've got a new general manager, Eric Bremer, who came to us from Ingram, and Mitch Wade, who's on the call now, and the rest of the team. Bailey, our marketing manager, has put this together for us. And then the next slide. Our sales folks that you probably already know, your rep. And at that, I'm going to turn it over to our fine Juniper team. And I believe Pete Fitzgerald with Juniper is going to start off. Pete?
Sure. Let me show my screen. And okay, looks like it's showing. So I'm Pete Fitzgerald. I'm a sales engineer with Juniper, specifically focused on the Unified Managed Services Program. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through briefly what the program is. I'm going to go through what the benefits are for a partner. I'm going to go through what the benefits are for a customer. So I'm going to show the evolution of how this benefits the partner community and how the partners can then help customers save on their total cost of ownership. So there's going to be a little bit of math involved, but it'll all be okay, I promise. John Gichuru, who is my sales counterpart, is going to go through the program details itself once I go and kind of go through the value proposition. So basically, the uMSP program is Unified Managed Services Program, and it is a program designed to help partners transition to an as-a-service or network-as-a-service type offering. So we help partners create network-as-a-service type offerings based on Juniper gear, specifically around the AIDE or AI-driven enterprise, which is our wireless, our wired, and our WAN. Why are we doing this? Hang on. There we go. So why are we doing this? Because that's the way the market is going. This is the poster child for network as a service. So with the migration to cloud and leveraging economies of scale, that plus the way that the workforce currently is today at the hopefully the tail end of COVID, where we're all kind of distributed and some of us are working from home and some of us are not, you have to be flexible. And so network as a service makes a lot of sense in that regard. So here's how it shakes out. There's three different models of how we deliver things to market today, deliver networks to the market today. So resale, and this is where a lot of us are stuck today. Resale has become incredibly competitive. It has been incredibly competitive, and you have partners duking it out for fractions of a percentage point. So you have a lot of transactions and very little margin. And every year you get asked to deliver more, but your margins get smaller and smaller. So that's more and more transactions. The next thing we see is resale plus managed service, and resale alone is trending down. And it is trending down because it's not a business model that can be supported. So I spent some time at Verizon, and Verizon, when I was there, was trying to wrestle with how they could handle just CPE. They couldn't do it. CPE for them was always a loss. They couldn't just handle delivering gear to a customer. It always had to be gear with some kind of a service so that they could make money on a blended margin. And that brings us to resale plus managed, which is flat, not trending down, but flat. And that is customer still buys the kit, and then partner manages that kit or that infrastructure over time. The problem with these two scenarios, resale and managed, is the first word, resale. And that's where I think we get stuck, where a customer has to write a very large check to buy all this infrastructure gear and then write monthly checks to manage that. And then NAS, which is trending up, or network as a service, which is where the customer doesn't own anything. All they do is write a monthly bill, and that pays for all their infrastructure that gets managed by a partner. And that is what the program is to help get partners from the resale plus managed over to the NAS space. So we're going to do something fun right now. We're going to take a simple bill of materials, and we're going to kind of put it through its paces on these 3 different scenarios and see how that shakes out. We're looking specifically at the customer's total cost of ownership as related to the partner profit. So it's kind of interesting how we do this. Before we do that, let's kind of go through some details on these 3 different models. So resale only is a CapEx-based model. So customer has to write a check for the infrastructure, and then the customer owns putting it in, installing it, and then running it for 3 years, or however many, whatever the length of that network's going to be in service going to be for. Which means the customer has to learn it, and they have to play around with it. They don't have the expertise here usually, and this is the kind of thing that they'll do one time. They'll build a network like this one time, whereas a partner is going to do this over and over and over again. So they're going to have some expertise in this area. Resale only is going to give the highest customer TCO. High TCO is not good. Total cost of ownership is how much it's going to cost the customer to not only buy, but to buy, to install, and to operate that environment for, and for our use case here, we're using 3 years. And so the highest total cost of ownership comes from resale only, because the customer has to learn how to put it in, play around with it, troubleshoot, and then learn how to operate it. And there's a lot of learning in that learning curve, and no economies of scale, because they have to build everything out for just this one network. Resale and manage gets a little bit better. It's a hybrid CapEx OpEx model. And if you're not familiar with CapEx and OpEx, CapEx is a purchase, like I purchase, I have to pay cash for the network gear. That's CapEx. OpEx would be, hey, I'm operating the network gear. I'm paying a monthly number for the operational aspect of that. So pay, say, a partner X amount per month per device to look after my environment for me. And that's OpEx. This gives the customer better total cost of ownership by a little bit. Customer still holds title to the gear. And again, the customer has to write a big check followed by a bunch of little checks. With uMSP, it's a total OpEx model. So the main differentiator here is that the partner holds title to the gear. And our entire uMSP program is designed to create and John's going to go through this in more detail, is designed to give a very, very good discount for partners spinning up a network as a service, for lack of a better term. That plus a lot of other things that John will go into that we can help you with along the way. So these are the 3 different models that we're going to go through. And now we take a bill of materials, and bill of materials, I think it was a couple hundred access points, the associated switches to connect the access points, and some SRXs there to connect the hip bone to the leg bone. And we see very quickly from the resale only that the total cost of ownership is $694. I always got beat up in school by my teachers for not showing my math. I do have a way that I can show the math for this, but it would take a lot of time. So for simplicity's sake, I'm just kind of summarizing here. But I will offer this. If anybody wants to go through something that's very specific to their own environment, I'd be more than happy to run through a financial proof of concept with you for your specific situation and see how it shakes out. But in this specific scenario, we show resale only has the highest total cost of ownership and the lowest partner profit, because basically you're just tacking on a couple points, trying to still be competitive, selling the gear to the customer, and then once the customer gets it, they have to learn how to put it in, learn how to operate it, then operate it. And they can't leverage economies of scales for that operational aspect of it because they don't have any other customers, it's just them. Resale plus managed, you can see the total cost of ownership goes down, and that is because partners, they build networks every day, and partners manage networks every day, and partners can leverage the economies of scale. But still, there is that big CapEx component that the customer does have to kind of shoot the lock off their wallet and pay for that equipment. With uMSP program, it is the lowest total cost of ownership and the highest partner profit. And that is incredibly compelling. Why is that? Because the discounts we're giving you, because the partner owns the gear, and once your model of monthly recurring revenue has eaten up the ROI, so the equipment's paid for, you're just generating pure profit. So say it's a 3-year term and it runs for 4 years, that 4th year is just going to be nothing but profit. So this is a great opportunity to go from making pennies to making dollars here. The other thing I want to point out on this slide is when I take a look at the delta on the TCO between the resell only and the uMSP, that's a compelling conversation to have with a customer. It's like if you go to your customer and say, hey, if I could reduce your total cost of ownership on this infrastructure by 1/3 over 3 years, would that be interesting to you? That's the kind of conversation you have with a customer as they're about to put an RFP on the street to keep that RFP from hitting the street, if you know what I mean. This is the way you get that business before it goes to RFP. So that is the financial comparison. Now let's take a look at the technology behind it. When I was a kid, my favorite toy was Legos. I loved Legos. It was just a box of blocks with infinite options. And right now, this is our box of Legos, and it's a pretty cool box of Legos. We're going to start at the top with the Mist Cloud. And we came into the cloud game later on, which is good because we got to leverage some of the later cloud things like microservices. So when you think of Netflix adds content, takes content away. You have no idea. You're watching Netflix, the content you're watching is fine, it's uninterrupted. Things get spun up, things get spun down. You have no idea. We operate the same way. So we add features all the time. You'll get a notification, hey, a new feature's been added. Nothing got interrupted, nothing happened, everything's great, you have a new feature. And artificial intelligence is key. So everything we have lives in the cloud. So if you think of the evolution of wireless, it used to be you configure each access point individually, and then you configure them based on an on-prem controller. That was the next evolution. So you had the on-prem controllers, and then those controllers kind of morphed to the cloud and became cloud-based controllers. So we're the next evolution of that. We're microservices cloud-based, which allows us a lot of flexibility, but everything's in the cloud. So talk about scale, that's instant global scale. So because you can hit the cloud from anywhere. Now AI, artificial intelligence, is basically, it's like everything else in IT. It's garbage in, garbage out. So the data that we ingest is going to define what the outcomes are that we can produce. So we do have some really good data. So all of our access points have specific firmware in them that capture 150 different, up to 150 different user states or client states every other second for every device connected in your environment. That's a lot of data. And we take that telemetry data and we store it in the cloud. And we use that for our AI to run certain things across. So for example, our AI-driven radio resource manager for our wireless will leverage that telemetry data and tell us where we have holes in our environment. So we can sense the power that a client has, the power level, and we can sense where their location is. So as their power level trails off in a specific location, we can say, that's a coverage hole. And through Marvis, we can report that. So I should really quickly introduce Marvis. Marvis is the personified name that we've given to our artificial intelligence. We've done that because you can actually interact with Marvis in a textual nature, so you can ask Marvis questions. So you can ask Marvis things like, Marvis, what happened with Teams last week? And I've been in this game for a very long time, and I've never seen something that is this robust. So Teams is not part of anything we're doing here, but we can ask Marvis a question about Teams because we are aware of applications. So if we say, hey, Marvis, what happened with Teams last week? Marvis is going to respond with a list of clients that may have had an issue with Teams within the last week. Then we can then click on one of those clients, and we're going to get a diagram that's going to show all the connecting points between that client and the cloud, and then we can go through each one and see where it is. So we can click on the first one, it's going to say, and the first one's going to be the access point that client is connected to, and it's going to say, oh, there were some latency issues. Then we click the downstream, we go one step downstream, that's the switch. Oh, there were latency issues. Then we go one step downstream, and that's the gateway. And the gateway says, okay, there were some latency issues between the gateway and the cloud. Okay, my domain ends at the gateway, so that is now our service provider. So I can open a ticket with them, and I can put my ticket on hold, and within one query and like 4 clicks, I have now solved that problem. So very, very robust in the problem-solving area. If you look across the bottom, we have wireless, wired, and WAN, and that's kind of the evolution that we have taken on. So we've started with wireless because that's what MIST was. MIST was wireless, got acquired by Juniper in 2019, and we added wired infrastructure to that as quickly as we could. And now we're folding in the SRX and the Session Smart Router for the WAN option of that. So true client to cloud. And with that, the one example I just gave you, trying to troubleshoot what happened with Teams a week ago, that's pretty compelling. The other thing we do with our access points, speaking of data, is our access points have kind of a DVR, a packet capture DVR built into them. So as data goes through the access point, we hold on to it for a little bit. And if all of a sudden Marva says, hey, something happened, there was an association issue, there was an authorization issue, we can say, hey, this is something that's compelling. Someone in ops may want to take a look at this. Let's grab that packet capture that's relevant to this from the cache, and let's put that as an attachment to this event in the dashboard. So what that equates to is I don't have to roll a truck to try to recreate an issue. I don't have to recreate it because it already exists. I don't have to try to capture those packets after I recreate it because I already have them from when the issue actually happened. And I can click it up and bring it up in CloudShark or Wireshark or whatever, however I want to look at that. So that in of itself is pretty compelling. At any point in time, if anybody wants to ping either John or I, we'd be more than happy to go through a demo of this system, because it's, looking at a slide is okay, but actually seeing it in action is pretty slick. So we'd be more than happy to take you on that journey. The other thing I want to point out here is location services. One thing I missed on one of my initial slides was there are new evolving markets that we can help you get involved with. Location services is an easy one to pick on because everybody can understand it pretty simply. So think about a hospital, for example, and having covered hospitals for a number of years, things always go missing. Wheelchairs, because they're on wheels. So trying to find out where your wheelchairs are is always challenging. Wheelchair is kind of like not a great example because it's not a very expensive piece of equipment, but it does work. So if, say, I wanted to know where all my wheelchairs were, I could create a service or create a service where I could have asset tags or Bluetooth asset tags on my wheelchairs. And how we are able to enable this is our access points. Some of them, not all of them, some of them are enabled with a Bluetooth antenna array, a 16-element, 8 transmit, 8 receive Bluetooth antenna array that allow us to be very, very precise at location services. So if in the event that, hey, a wheelchair goes missing, someone comes to me and says, hey, Pete, I can't find wheelchair 138, I can simply go to Marvis and say, locate wheelchair 138. Marvis is going to populate a map with the exact location of where that wheelchair is on that map. So very, very compelling. So location as a service, who knows, could be. And again, anytime anybody wants to run through a financial proof of concept, or time anybody wants to go through a product demo, we'd love to have that call with you. Please reach out to us. This is my final slide. The expanded catalog going through the location services example. It's very, very compelling. Simplicity of operations is very key. As you simplify your operations and they become more and more you're cost effective, so you're shaving costs out of your operations. Your revenue coming in is the same, however. So if your revenue coming in is the same and you reduce your cost, that's called profit. So that's a good thing. And as you spin up and your economies of scale get better and better, your costs are going to go down, especially as you get more efficient, and you're going to be making more and more profit. And sticky experiences. I'd like to finish with a quick story. This is kind of a bit of folklore because this happened before I was at Juniper, and I think this happened before MIST was at Juniper. but it's still very compelling, and it does really illustrate the power of this system. So we had a partner, and their customer was a very large warehouse, and this warehouse would measure its downtime in millions of dollars an hour. And they had just got this warehouse up and running with Mist, and wouldn't you know it, one night everything just comes to a grinding, screeching halt. Phones ring, and the partner gets on the Mist dashboard really quick and starts looking around and seeing what's what. And yeah, it quickly sees, okay, well, it's not affecting everybody, but it's affecting your Windows 10 users. And there's a way to really quickly get through distribution. Once you find a problem, you click a little tab that says distribution, and you can go distribution by device, access point, switch, operating system. So when you look at distribution by operating system, it said only the Windows 10 operating system devices were having an issue. So they validated that with the customer. Customers, yeah, that's it. That's right. It is only the Windows 10 devices. So they looked further, and that rolling packet capture I told you about a little earlier, they troubleshot one of those devices and saw an authentication failure, and looked at that and saw that there was a invalid certificate date. So they went back to the customer and said, hey, have you recently pushed out a certificate to your user community? And they said, yeah, we pushed one out 3 days ago, but it was supposed to take effect midnight tonight. They pushed a certificate out with the wrong date, fixed the date, everybody was back up and running within 10 clicks. So very, very compelling. So if you can develop a solution or an offering like that to your customers, and your customers can experience that, and you can start talking about terms like mean time to innocence, which is what that is. Hey, the network's down, there's a problem. Oh, actually, it's not the network, it's your certificate had the invalid date. That's mean time to innocence. You deliver that to your customer, that is a sticky experience. They'll be a customer for life. And that is my last slide. And I believe we're going to questions now, yes?
Yes, thank you, Pete. If anybody has questions, just type them in the chat. And in the meantime, I'm going to hand it over to you, John, so you can get your slides up.
Okay. Let's see here.
And I also just want to let everybody know there's a couple of handouts that you can download. They'll just be in the handout section. One is a more in-depth guide to the uMSP program. And then one is an incentive that we're offering to all of you. And we'll kind of cover that at the end. But if you want to go ahead and download those and take a look.
Awesome. And Pete, can you verify you can see my screen?
I can see your screen, yes.
Yep.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you very much for that, Pete. And good job. You know, wish we had a little bit more time so we could have done a demo. But you know, I encourage any of you all that are interested to take us up on doing a demo for you. It's really a powerful thing. There's a saying within Juniper that once you see a Mist demo, you cannot unsee it. So, anyways, I highly recommend that. My name is John Gichuru. I'm the partner account manager for the uMSP program. I've been with Juniper for a number of years. I came over in the acquisition of Mist back in 2019 and based in Denver, Colorado. So today I'm going to just spend a couple minutes talking a little bit more programmatically about the uMSP offering. Talk a little bit about where it fits into Juniper's JPA program. Talk about eligibility, some program requirements, obviously some of the benefits to you all as prospective partners, providers, as well as how to come on board if you're interested. So, you know, I'm going to go back and just talk a little bit about the acquisition of Mist because it's relevant to this conversation. So, you know, many of you all know that Juniper acquired Mist back in 2019. When Mist was acquired by Juniper, you know, we came over with a pretty strong channel community already baked in. So it took us a couple of years to actually integrate the programs, and we finally became one happy Juniper channel program back in early 2021. But when that happened, we still had an outstanding program. This still had what we called our AI Access as a Service, and Juniper still had an MSP specialization. And so after some discussion and obviously taking a look at where the market was going, as Pete had so eloquently demonstrated earlier, we decided that it would make sense to go and really create, hence the name, or unify our managed services offering. And so last year, at the end of May, we officially launched our Unified Managed Services program. And so that was a good thing. My team, alongside Pete, were charted to take this to market. So real quick on how this all fits in, right? So if you're familiar with Juniper's Partner Advantage program, that is our global entity. It governs Juniper's channel go-to-market. And so then once we created the Unified Managed Services program, we fit that in underneath the JPA program and next to our Reseller Advantage program. So now we have two separate channel programs. They're each governed by their own set of rules and regulations, and they fit neatly under JPA. Partners are eligible to participate in both programs. So clicking into the Unified Managed Services program, this really offers our providers and our partners a tiered model that's intended to help our partners, our providers, differentiate themselves through their commitment and their success using that Juniper platform for their as-a-service go-to-market offering. So our service catalog is the AIDE platform that Pete just provided for you guys. Within that, we've broken this into really 4 technology tracks. Well, before I go there, we have 2 levels of participation within the uMSP program. We have what we call our elite provider level and our select provider level. Within the program, this is a provider-owned and managed program, as I think Pete mentioned earlier. And then within that, the program has 4 technology tracks. So partners can participate in one, they can participate in all 4. And when you looked at the slide that Pete broke out, there was a bunch of technology under that. We've categorized that into 4 tracks. We have what we call access. That is our wired and wireless technology, so MIST APs and our EX campus switch line. We have our indoor location services. That's obviously based primarily around the MIST access points, but we have a lot of partners that are spinning that up as a differentiator service that they're offering their customers. We have our branch security, which features the SRX 300 series. And then we have, as Pete mentioned, our new, we have an SD-WAN offering, which is really featured on our acquisition of 128T. So it's a session smart routing service that we can dive into with you all individually. And so, we have partners that are building services built on this AIDE platform. And they're differentiating their go-to-market on several fronts. I think the number one front is around what many of them term as a programmable network, where you're leveraging our APIs to customize your branded network as a service. So things like rapid provisioning of services, flexible resource management, efficient resource sharing, like cloud computing, leveraging it for Internet of Things of that nature. And the other is around our engagement and applications using our location services. So location services that really tie into mobile devices, we feel is an untapped area by service providers. And leveraging our VBLE, our virtual BLE architecture and software-defined applications opens a lot of different use cases, as Pete mentioned earlier, right? These can be productized and offered where white space exists, and then that can in turn deliver incremental monthly recurring revenue. And some of the examples, Pete mentioned it with the wheelchair locationing services, or also known as asset tracking, right? Tagging high dollar assets, whether it's in a school or a hospital, on a campus of some sort, and being able to track those devices. IoT integration for smart applications is another one, and then a really big one that we're seeing a number of partners have already productized is around wayfinding. So creating a blue dot indoor experience has substantial use cases that can be addressed in multiple different verticals. And so when you take a step back, the AI-driven platform is fully endorsed by Gartner, with wired and wireless topping the leaderboard for the second straight year as the leading vendor furthest to the right. And I think a good point of note here is that we are also the only wired and wireless LAN vendor, also in the location services Magic Quadrant. So our location services are fully integrated solution. One dashboard is managing all of these solutions that we're talking about. We have a number of different providers and partners that are taking advantage of this program today. We have large tier 1, tier 2 service providers here in North America that are offering a mass market type of offering, leveraging our SRX and our missed APs, right? They're kitting these together. They have MTUs. Their customers come in, they click on the website, and out goes a kit. The kit phones home, and they're running wireless as a service. We have a very successful boutique MSP. They are tapping into the MDU space, charging by bed. We have traditional resellers all over the country that are building services today, and typically starting, with that access as a service, that wired and wireless offering that I discussed earlier. So, looking at the numbers a little bit, this is an OEM agreement with what we like to say an all-you-can-eat framework, meaning you have fixed and predictable pricing for your productized offerings. The program is also flexible enough to support your opportunity-based network as a service opportunities. So, if you're have a specific end user that is looking to purchase their network as the service, and we're competing against another vendor, we can go and build out a pricing letter for that. But typically, most of our partners are leveraging our OEM pricing. Let's see here. Some of the things that we click down here on this page, the revenue goals are targets in your first year. You'll see here at the bottom. Pete and I are engaged with partners all across the West. We're here to team along with our marketing team. We'll work with you guys to create a business plan to achieve success. But we have partners hitting these numbers. We do have minimum certification requirements. They only apply to the technology tracks that you choose. So in other words, if you go and just choose to do access as a service, that's a wired and wireless, you would only have to go in and complete the certifications that map to that technology track. If you choose all four, then you have to go down the list. But the nice thing is that all of your certifications that you've done within the Reseller Advantage program are transferable to the uMSP cert requirement fields as well. And so we can work with you guys on that as well. Today, being that the program is very, very young, the primary barrier to entrance is that we do require our partners to own a NOC or access a NOC of some sort. So you can leverage a third-party NOC, or if you own your own NOC, that is, obviously that's a preferred way to go. So Commitment to creating a service is a big one for us. We don't want partners just coming into the program to fulfill a single opportunity. We're asking that you all come in committed, and for us that means that, this is a technology track that we want to pursue. We want to set up cadence calls with you. We want to identify key contacts within your organization. We want to know who's the technical administrator is going to be, the program manager, the NOC manager. We want to partner with you to build a service, productize that service, and go to market with you. And we do have MDF and funding for this program to help you guys build that service and go to market. Some of the key benefits or the highlights, right? Again, this idea of fixed OEM pricing, deep discounts beyond or deeper than traditional deal registration pricing, so that you can go in, understand what your costs are, create that service, and go to market with it. Flexible sourcing options through JFS, more and more coming from Juniper in terms of financial vehicles, different ways to get to market versus you as the provider having to come out and pay the whole bill up front. We have this concept of a uMSP cloud umbrella, where all of the hardware, all of the subscription services are transferable, and that can all be done through our uMSP dashboard. So you can go and move subscriptions, you can move hardware from client to client, or within a client from org to org. We have a uMSP partner portal that we've built out. Within that, there's tools, resources, it's self-serve, and more and more functionalities being added to that monthly. Internal announcements to sales, noting providers' capabilities. So we have an internal uMSP list of providers that our sales teams have access to, and within that you'll be able to really kind of advertise what your differentiators are to help you go to market. We have joint marketing investments for demand, and again, service creation support, right? So API consultation, branding through our marketing team, financial planning, financial vehicle assistance through JFS. And then if you are interested, if you go out to juniper.net, you'll see there's the reseller advantage tab, and right next to it we have now created a unified managed services tab. If you click on that, you will see an apply now tab. You can go down and apply there. We do typically ask for a very, very light business plan, really just to try to understand your business today. What are some of the managed service offerings you have today? What does your NOC look like? Is it 24/7? Is it 9 to 5, something like that? What technology tracks you might be interested in? Really just a high level plan on how we're going to go to market together. And then once we've done that with you guys, typically a letter can be sent out within 24 hours and we can get started. So that is all I've got today. Thank you very much. And we'll turn it back over to Bailey and some questions.
Thanks, John. We've had one question so far. Will Juniper be offering any professional services to assist with deployment of large opportunities?
So there are professional services that could be purchased. I personally haven't seen them leveraged in this program today, but for a large deployment, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Pete, anything you would add there? You're my.
So yeah, I mean, we definitely have the professional services. I've worked with that team there up to speed on everything we're doing here. So that's a conversation we could have. I mean, if we're talking, our professional services is not going to be the folks you're going to leverage for like rack stack ping. There are professional services are kind of like the deep ones and zeros folks. But we can definitely work with you on that and come up with a way forward. So feel free to reach out to us. Let's chat it up a little bit and see what we have to do.
Okay.
Awesome. So Pete and John, thank you for talking us through this program. And I got to believe that corporate America is ready to endorse network as a service. Everybody's got to be moving this way. So seeing that you guys are ready for this is good. And in addition, we've got a incentive campaign for you folks that if you want to have a follow-up call, and you should, we're offering a $50 Amazon gift card, and we could set that up with Juniper and our team here at Securematics. And then part 2 of that would be if you complete the onboarding process into the uMSP program, you'll get a $200 Amazon gift card. So it's a win-win. So I would make sure you take advantage of that. And if you have any questions right now, make sure you ask them. But if you think of it after the call, you can definitely get a hold of myself, your Securematics partner success exec, John or Pete.
Yeah, hey, Mark, and I would just add, again, right, the webinar is great. We've got this program set up. It's great, but the real power is in seeing this dashboard and understanding what we're doing behind the scenes and how it fits into managing not just a customer, but hundreds, thousands of different customers potentially. So a demo is highly recommended.
All right.
Well, I don't think we have any more questions now, but again, feel free to reach out. We'll send everyone a follow-up email with the incentive and the program overview.
Awesome. Thanks, Bailey.
Fantastic. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, guys.